Okay, ladies and gents, we finally received another update about AC Shadows. Pray tell. Well, they actually are going back and changing like several major components that I thought were baffling about the original game's launch. They're kind of Control-Zing a lot of it based on fan feedback. And I gotta give them credit. You know, part of being critical about a company or a game is also giving credit when they correct it or make a good decision and go in a different direction that is more in line with what you were hoping for. And that's what they're doing here. They're actually taking a step, I think, in a really good direction. And I'm actually quite pleased with what they're going to announce here. But I'll show you real quick. This is Simon. I met Simon when I was in Quebec, whenever that was. And he's genuinely a really cool dude. Like, I think he would be a really fun guy to go get drinks with and stuff in a coconut. I think he would be a very fun guy. He's a goofball. And, yeah, he's a fun guy. But let's see what they got to say.
Hi, Assassins. Simon here with a brand new post-launch update for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
And I'm Dan, community developer. We're back with another juicy update to get you up to speed on everything coming to Assassin's Creed Shadows during the summer.
Okay, so it's been a very busy springtime around the office. First, we had our special collaboration with Dead by Daylight and the addition of Critical Role's Rufino as an ally for your hideout. Plus, we've added a ton of requested mechanic with our first parkour update, new HUD customization settings, the option of wearing headgear in cutscenes, a few photo mode upgrades, and of course, our brand new Nightmare difficulty setting.
All of which, significant improvements, okay? The base game, I thought was way too easy. I just did. And it was a critique I made in the review because I felt like it made it so stealth was never really required because you could always very easily get out of trouble by fighting your way out, whether you're playing as Nawe or Yasuke. So I thought the game was too easy. So hearing that they made another Nightmare difficulty, genuinely a good improvement and update. I haven't really experimented with it. I think I booted it up once or twice to try a few fights, and it is significantly harder, but I haven't done like a ton of testing on it. Beyond that, they did parkour updates. So they added a bunch of new like what would they call it? Back launches or something. That sounds sexual. But basically like now you can run up the wall and jump back onto the roof to grab it. There's more wall side jumps, back ejects. Thank you. Back ejects. That's much better. Thank you. It's like back shot, back blow. I don't know. But they have actually done a good amount of things. Photo mode, personally, I don't really use photo mode much, so I don't really care. But some people I'm sure appreciate that. But they have made some improvements to some of those core components and things that people were frustrated about at launch.
Here's a look at some winners of our recent photo mode contest from our official Discord server.
Yeah, I'm not talented enough to do anything like that. Look at that. Wow.
But enough about the past, Dan. We're here to talk about the future. Now, summer's here, obviously, and here's what you can expect in the next couple of months.
3 words: New Game Plus. You've asked for it, and now we're ready to deliver.
So, New Game Plus will be available to you as soon as you complete the last story mission and the credits have rolled. Opting in will reset your story progression, your objective board progression, as well as your discovered location. But don't worry, your character level, your required gear, your knowledge rank, as well as your precious hideout progression will remain untouched. When launching New Game Plus, you can either start from the very beginning, reliving the events of the Tencho War in Iga, or you can skip right over the prologue to the moment where Naue inherits the hideout from Tomiko. Either way,
that's genuinely a good way of doing it. One of the frustrating things about New Game Plus for me in previous, like not Assassin's Creed games necessarily, but a lot of other games, is that you want to start a New Game Plus and you have to go through the same prologue 15,000 times, the same dialogue over and over and over again, and everything is like slowly walk through the encampment while we do a tutorial, and it's always really frustrating. So I genuinely appreciate that option to skip it. Nice.
We made sure that none of the basic tutorials will bother you on your second playthrough.
We're increasing the level cap from 60 to 80 for all players and introducing brand new knowledge ranks, new mastery and knowledge skill ranks, and new upgrades for all hideout buildings, including 2 new upgrades for Heiji's Forge.
New Game Plus is also the perfect
In case you didn't play it, that basically just means that you can upgrade your weapons even higher to do more damage and stuff, which you would basically need for a New Game Plus if enemies are scaling. So that's all very, very nice. It's why I like some games, the way they're set up, like, you know, an FromSoft game is a good example where everything is like established and it's all based kind of on multipliers. And so everything can scale pretty easily to New Game Plus, New Game 2 Plus, 3 Plus, 4 Plus, because it's just about the math. Like the exponential damage number gets multiplied by this, and then that becomes that, and it just kind of works out based on what the spreadsheet determines, you know. But other games, if they're not built originally with New Game Plus in mind, it does not scale that way, and they have to do a lot more work to add New Game Plus. Because it means, like he said, adding all sorts of new tiers to like the blacksmith forge so that you can upgrade weapons, because they never intended for you to have weapons above level, whatever it is, 60. So it's a lot more work to do it. But to their credit, they're doing it and adding it, and it's a free update.
Opportunity to switch between Now and Yasuke and experience things differently than however it went on your first playthrough. And if you manage to beat New Game Plus once again, we'll have a bunch of rewards that are unique to you and gives you a ton of bragging rights.
July is also when you can expect Project 3 to appear. There will be new resources, data files, and exclusive Animus-themed rewards for you to collect. Remember, if you're still working on the first 2 projects, you can either finish them up or swap to the new project. There's no time pressure. Join us on Reddit later this summer for our next AMA with members of the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. It will be the perfect place to ask your questions and learn more about what we're cooking.
And lastly, we're going to be adding a bunch of highly requested features, such as the ability to unfog the map by completing every single viewpoint per region.
Hell yeah. So this, just to emphasize this, we'll skip the first one because that's the biggest one, I think. Unfogging the world map hideout update. So unfogging it just means, like, previously if you didn't travel on a specific spot, it wouldn't clear the fog of war on the map. Now if you synchronize with all of the viewpoints on them, it clears the whole region, which I think, again, the fact it wasn't there before is kind of crazy, because I don't know why they wouldn't just do that, but it's a good change. Hideout updates.
And last but not least, the ability to fast forward time of day. I know. Some of us designers were quite resistant to give it to you guys, myself included, but we've heard you, and now we're giving it to you. You guys win on this one.
Yeah, haha, got you.
So do we want to announce the date for Claws of Awaji? Yeah, I think we have footage for that, right?
Break the fourth wall. Break the fourth. Wait, where's the wide angle shot? Big lights and everything. I like seeing the behind the scenes on things like this. It's always funny to me. I will genuinely say I do appreciate the fact that they are like retconning this and going back on it. Because here's the deal. In AC Shadows, the whole thing is about day, night, and different seasons. Like, that's the whole idea at the core of mission design and everything, is that if you go in this mission and it's winter at night, you have to approach it differently than you would have approached it if you were playing it daytime in the summer. Like, that's their whole idea, is that everybody's playthrough and run will be different based on the time of year, based on the time of day, and all of that. And they wanted players to just kind of deal with what was presented to them. If you go and you're doing the main story missions and you find out that it's daytime in the spring, you just deal with it. You just do it instead of like passing time. They're like, if you want to pass time, just go do some other missions while the day-night cycle goes forward, and then you can do that mission at night. Like, just busy yourself elsewhere. But I don't think AC is that kind of game. Like, I don't think it's that kind of hardcore sim game where they want you to, like, it's not KCD, you know, and even KCD will let you cycle time forward and wait in game. There's consequences for waiting. You will increase hunger, you'll lose, you'll become more restless, and so you'll need to sleep at some point. There's things like that. Your energy will drop, but they still let you cycle time forward, and they tie that into missions and things where certain missions are better or can only be achieved at night. And with AC Shadows, what was always so weird to me is I'm like, put yourself in the shoes of Nawe. Like, you are a 5 foot, 100-pound soaking wet ninja, basically. Why on God's green earth would you go in to do an assassination mission against like a high-level samurai at 1 p.m. on a Thursday? Like, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, any reasonable person would wait until nightfall and then do the mission. And so for me, it was always frustrating because I was like, you have this cool stuff. The game is literally called AC Shadows, where it's all about creating shadows and throwing, you know, this tool at this lantern to break it, creating a new shadow for you to stealth through. I was like, give me the option to cycle time forward, you know, and do the mission at night if I want to. Or if it's Yasuke, maybe I only want to do it in the daytime or something. But I think the initial reason they didn't want to do that was because, one, like I said, they wanted you to just deal with the situation that presented itself to you. But two, they were, I think, worried that players would all just cycle forward to nighttime for every single mission. And they're like, that we don't really want that, because then the whole game just turns into like a night mode game. I'd be like, what's the problem with that? Like, who cares? Like, why is that a problem? If you created a game with systems and players like engaging with the systems a particular way, what's the problem with that? I don't know. Even in another game with like high difficulty challenge bosses and stuff, there may be like Monster Hunter. There's a particular monster that's really, really vulnerable to fire damage. Everybody who knows what they're doing is going to take a fire damage loadout set of weapons and armor that complements that to do that monster hunt. You know, that's what they're going to do, because they're capable and reasonable in thinking, and they're engaging with the systems in the game. That's what they do. I wouldn't see that as a problem. Even though all the players are engaging with the fight basically the same way, I don't think that's a problem. They're just aware of your game's mechanics, and they're meeting you where you're at and trying to take advantage of those systems and utilize it. So I think it's not a bad thing at all. This was one thing. I don't actually remember at this point if I spoke to Simon about it specifically, but I do know when I was at the studio doing like the little previews, I mentioned it to people at Ubisoft who were working on the game that I thought you should be able to cycle time forward, because I was like, there's a bunch of things that are just missing that were here before. Origins and Odyssey, and I believe Valhalla as well, they all had this day-night cycle toggle thing where you can just toggle the night forward to nighttime, or, you know, forward to daytime. It's like, why did we strip it out here? Also, like, you can't carry a torch. Why can't we carry a torch? Why did we remove that? You know, it just, it's kind of frustrating to see things removed out of it. Like, and I never really understood the reasons why. But to their credit, once more, to their credit, you got to give them credit. They're going back and giving players what they're requesting for, instead of just being like, no, it is this way and you're going to like it. To their credit, they're changing it and going back, which I genuinely appreciate. I think that's good. Listening to fan feedback. It's the point of asking for feedback, right? Like, if he didn't do anything with it, that would be a problem. But they're taking the feedback and be like, okay, well, the player's always right. Let's give the players what they want and see what they think of it. You know, got to give them credit for that.
Want to announce the date for Claws of Awaji?
Claws of Awaji?
Yeah, I think we have footage for that, right?
Outlander!
Claws of Awaji.
That's right. Mark your calendars, folks. Claws of Awaji will be available on September 16th, and it's going to be free for all of you who've pre-ordered the game.
That's it for our summer plans. New Game Plus is coming July.
10 plus hours is what they say. 10 plus hours. It's apparently going to be pretty expansive. New region, new weapon and abilities, new outfits, legendary gear, new enemy faction and bosses, and new chapter of the story. What's been kind of suspected for a while, if you didn't play AC Shadows, that's okay. It ends super, super abruptly. Like, super abruptly. You'll hit the end of the story after, granted, after like whatever it is, 60 hours or something, and you're just like, wait, what? That was the end? What? It happens kind of out of nowhere. And I think what happened was they were being rushed to finish the game, and they were like, we don't have time to finish all of what we wanted to do for the main story, so we have to end it earlier, and we'll have this other stuff we wanted to do for the finale that will be in the first expansion, and we just don't have time to finish it, because I think they were being rushed from HQ in Paris. But then Star Wars Outlaws happened, and after Star Wars Outlaws happened, they were like, oh God, we can't rush things anymore. So then they delayed everything. They delayed AC Shadows to February. It was originally launching on Valentine's Day. Then they pushed it back again another month to March. And at that point in March, it launched and had gotten a lot of polish and everything, but they couldn't just take what they were going to do for the ending and stitch it back on at that point. It's kind of too late. So what's been suspected is that the stuff that was booted out into the expansion, or what was going to be the ending was booted out into the expansion, now is going to be in Claws of Awaji as basically the definitive, like, full story of everything that they wanted to do. We don't know that for a fact. We don't know that for a fact that that's what's happened, but it kind of lines up where they were being rushed. We know that the story ends out of nowhere very abruptly, and that this expansion includes more gameplay stuff, a new chapter to the story of Yasuke and Naoe. So it feels like maybe that chapter was taken and stitched over there. I'm not saying I like it, because I feel like the base game should have the complete story. But I think that that's probably what happened that caused this to occur, because corporate was rushing them. And so they just were like, oh, I guess we'll finish a limited version of it and put that out instead of having a bunch of unfinished stuff. So whatever. Either way, coming in September, I think that's a good time for it to come out right before Ghost of Yotei, instead of trying to compete. There were rumors that they were going to try to launch it in early October, and if that was the case, that would have been very stupid. So I think that this is a good way to do it. They also are doing uncapped frame rate and cutscenes as well, which I don't know why a lot of games do this, but a lot of games cap the cutscene frame rate to like keep it cinematic. Drives me crazy. I don't know why they do that, but they're uncapping.
July 29th, our AMA will happen in August, and the Claws of Awaji will release on September 16th. And if you haven't already, join our official Discord server and share your wildest wishes for future content in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Happy hunting, Assassins.
What's up, Dan?
Dude, he actually clocked him pretty good there.
Future content in Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Happy hunting, Assassins.
Dude, this was not faked. They actually just chucked the ball at him. Oh, you know what? Props.
What's up, Dan?
I mean, I'll say Simon doesn't look like a guy you mess with. Like, I don't know if you can tell from the video. Dude's big. The dude is buff. He's a big dude. I wouldn't mess with him. Anyway, I think these are all genuinely good changes. I mean, there's nothing here that I'm like, here we go. Like, it's all genuinely like just free updates. The expansion is still coming, and they claim it's going to be pretty expansive. They're backtracking on multiple of the things I thought were bafflingly bad about the base game, like not being able to cycle time forward, the capped cutscene frame rates and stuff. So they're walking that back. In the past few months, they've also added the additional difficulty setting. They've also added like new parkour moves and stuff. Like, they're actually taking active steps to turn AC Shadows into the game that I think a lot of us thought it could be. And if it had had more time to begin with, it probably could have been at launch. But to their credit, they're doing it now. And, you know, if you critique somebody or something, but then you don't give them credit when they make the right choice or when they correct their mistakes and things, then you're just kind of an asshole. So you got to give credit where it's due, critique where it's due, criticize where it's due. But when they do something good, you have to give applause as well. Because when you do something good, you get a piece of candy. When you do something bad, you get a slap on the wrist. That's what we do. And in this case, I think these are genuinely good changes. So props to the team up in Quebec, rocking and rolling. Especially, I'm sure it's pretty chilly up there. If anybody watching this is from like Quebec and you live there in the winter, I don't know how you do it, dude. I live in Colorado. It's cold. Bro, Quebec cold is something else. It's something else. I hate cheese. Quebec represent. The John Oda show says, bro, I'm there. Dude, it was specifically on the city streets. The wind whips up from the river. And it's like that January cold air whipped up through the river, blasting through the city streets. You step outside of the hotel, you step onto the sidewalk, and immediately your like nose hairs and sinuses freeze. Like to the point where you go like this. And you can feel it crunching because it's frozen already. It's like not livable, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy cold, but I'm sure maybe in the summer it's nice and toasty. But yeah, the winter, I was like, bro, you guys are hardcore. You guys are hardcore. He took my thing. Red